Seminole Nation and the Robert Hook Show is brought to you by premier sponsor, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, Bugmobile of Arkansas, H&R Block of Mississippi County, Ed Harshman and Harshman Reynolds, and Roller Swift Funeral Home. Council member Tyler Dunnigan. Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Grant Barnett. And now, the Robert Hook Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Robert Hook Show, sponsored by First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. I am joined by Bobby Eflin, head football coach of your Osceola Seminoles, Coach Robert Hooks, and Jade Gonzalez doing all the pushing the buttons behind the scenes. Coach, homecoming comes and goes. Big win for the Seminoles, 53-6 on the rained all day. Stopped about 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, cleared away. The crowds come in. The outside atmosphere was unbelievable with all the classes that come back on this one time a year. They get together and celebrate the homecoming. And nothing tops it off better, Coach, than a big win on homecoming night, 53-6. Just talk a little bit about the game, Coach, on in your words. Just let us know what you think, how the game went, and just let us know how you felt after the game.
The first thing, the wind was blowing when the game first started, so we were going to defer, and if we had to kick the ball off, we were going to kick it with the wind. I thought that was huge momentum for us in the game because we pinned them in the first half, and we never had to start from the minus side of the field the whole night. So that right there was good for us, and I used those timeouts early in the first quarter when the game was 28 to nothing to keep the win so that we could pin them. Wasn't going to let them get the win and punt it and pin us back. So that's the reason I use those timeouts. But very excited about the way our kids played and come out and executed and all phases of the game and what a crowd, great crowd. And I have to be honest, in the third quarter it was hard to focus with all that barbecue smoke coming.
Man, I tell you what. I mean, you could smell it up there in the booth, Coach, and it smelled really good. Bobby, starting off in the first quarter, 8:29 left in the first. Seminoles get a 2-yard touchdown run by number 1, Dan Newsom. Extra point was no good, and the Seminoles led 6-0. And Bobby, we see right off the front end, Coach Hooks goes with a different look, little wildcat package with Dan Newsom at quarterback.
And it was effective. It looked like something that maybe had been seen on film through the while scouting Manila, but Dan was very effective out of the Wildcat Friday night. Of course, everything that the Seminoles did offensively seemed to be very effective Friday night. I thought it was a good look, and the first couple of TD runs that Dan ran out of that package, he wasn't touched till he got in the end zone.
That's right. So
you got to credit the offensive line. Of course, they were co-players of the game for us Friday night, and I thought, once again, Kenyon Troop and Bill Estelle and Chris Littleton, that bunch did a great job. They went out and blocked it up well all night long.
I agree. And we get the ball back to them, 3 and out. We get the ball back, 5:33 left, 8-yard touchdown run by number 1, Dan Newsom. This time the extra point was good. We led 13-0. So 2 times in a row, you get down inside the 10-yard line. You see Dan Newsom come in at quarterback, run the Wildcat. Coach, just a little bit about your thinking and getting Dan in there at quarterback.
Well, it's a package that we've been working on all year, and we've had it in for about the last 3 weeks, and just felt there was no need to use it, and just wanted to go ahead and get it in. I thought it would be a good time, and I thought we executed it well.
Get to 2:03 left in the first quarter. We have a 45-yard pick six by number 88, Nick Vorns. This time the 2-point conversion was good by Dan Newsom. So, Dan's in there once again, gets a 2-point conversion. We go up 21-0. Coach, Nick Vorns just made a beeline. It was beautiful the way he picked that ball off. I could tell his vision was there because you could see it. I mean, we saw it unfold from where we were sitting up there. You could see it. It was like a kid in a candy store. His eyes were wide open. And when he called it, he was not denied. Just talk a little bit about Nick Vorns, getting him in there, and that pick six.
Well, if you remember, Nick was a guy who was actually a starter early in the season. Injuries had kept him on the sideline, but he's a long range guy and pretty hezzy, especially for this is his first year to play football. So he is used his length and then after showed that he has some speed to go along with that.
I'll tell you, it showed right there on that play. Bobby, the only other score in the first quarter comes with about 10.1 seconds left. We have a 4-yard touchdown run by MJ Vance. The extra point by MJ was good. Seminoles led 28-0 after one.
And at that point in time, I don't know that Manila had crossed their own 40.
Right.
They had some early success running the football on the interior of the line. Same thing we've talked about all year with the counter action out of the shotgun. It's given the Seminole front some problems all year from everybody we've played. But once again, we saw Coach Teague start walking the linebackers down, start taking control of the ball game, and you just you took the wind out of their sails. They had a shank punt that went about 16 or 17 yards that set Osceola up, and the pick six. And we talk about the turnover battle. There were two other instances that should have been interceptions in the game.
That's right.
One, Dan was just trying to high point the ball, and Greg Hook's standing there waiting to catch the thing.
That's right.
But overall, that performance first quarter, you just couldn't ask for much better than what you saw.
And, Bobby, I'm glad you brought up, the shank punt. It was Dan Newsom that runs up. He's like a up back.
Yep.
He runs up, gets the punt, and almost takes it to the house, gets knocked out about the 15-yard line, somewhere in that area, 10-yard line. But, Dan Newsom was huge in the first quarter.
He showed up big. Dan showed up big. You got that. We talk about that senior group all year, and we talk about that leadership that it shows, and Dan was there.
Yeah.
And Dan's played well all year. He hasn't had you don't want to say he hasn't had the opportunities. I think he's had the opportunities, but he's either had something trip or he's had a drop or something like that. But you can see it coming.
That's right.
You saw the play against Toxie when he takes the ball to the house. You see his speed. You see his ability to run with the football. So you knew it was coming. You knew that game was coming. You just didn't know when it was going to be. Well, it was Friday night.
And, Bobby, you don't – the beauty about Osceola is you don't ever know which one's going to beat you. You can prepare, and I talk about this every week, and it's not because I'm just I'm an Osceola fan and I'm just going to pull for Osceola. I just call it like I see it. You never know which one of them is going to step up. In this instance, it was Dan Newsom.
You've got 4 wide receivers that can all go.
In a heartbeat.
They can all go. Stefan is just really, really quick. His first step is quick, and if he gets into the open field, he's a load.
And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. It's right here.
It's right.
He's going to get inserted here in just a second.
And Greg and Trey are about as sure-handed as any two receivers I've seen on the high school level in a long time.
Yes, sir.
Trey runs his routes really, really well. You can tell that Trey's out there working. And the thing that I've seen out of all of them this year, more so Dan, Greg, and Trey, but what I've seen out of all of them is they get out and block on the edge.
They do.
When they know MJ's running the ball, or they know Rod, or they know Brandon's running the football, you see these guys engage with the defensive back, and they're trying to make a block out there because at any time, they're looking to spring this thing. So
that's right.
Even when they're not involved in the play as far as touching the football, you see those 4 guys working hard.
And they're so unselfish, Bobby.
They are.
They're so unselfish. They don't sit over and harp to the coach about why ain't you throwing this play to me more often, or why ain't you doing this? They understand their role, and they understand their role will come. And that's exactly what Dan had going on in the first quarter. 28-0 after one, folks. We go right into the second quarter with 10:38 left in the second. Number 13, who we just talked about, Stefan Colvin, has a 23-yard touchdown run. Extra point, no good. Seminoles led 34-0. Get the ball back with 7:04 left. Number 5, Brandon Johnson, has a 2-yard touchdown run. Extra point, once again, is no good. 40-0 at that point. We get down to 4:54 left in the second quarter. Number 5, Brandon Johnson, has a 1-yard touchdown run. This time, Jacob O'Kane kicks the extra point, and it is good. 47-0 is your score. 19.7 seconds left. Manila finally gets on the board. Number 1, Tanner Miller has a 17-yard touchdown pass to number 2, Dustin Clark. The extra point was no good. Manila is on the board, 47-6 at that point. And
ensuing kickoff.
I tell you, we talked about it. You know, I think me and Bobby even talked about it right before it happened. I said, boy, well, 7.4, and we get the ball in the second half, wouldn't it be just awesome if we could take this to the house? On the ensuing kickoff, folks, Greg Hooks Jr. has an 81-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And, Bobby, I'm going to tell you, when he hit the sideline, he was gone. I mean, the speed, I mean, I saw him. I mean, it's like he had another level. I mean, he had it. When he finally saw that he had the opening, he turned on some jets that I hadn't seen Greg turn them jets on. I haven't.
Well, what we saw there, and it's something that we haven't seen a lot of this year. You know, on punt returns, we've seen it out of Trey. Trey can be somewhat patient. He allows that blocking to develop. But on our kickoff returns, one of the things I've noticed is, and it's not a bad thing, but our returners catch the football in their north and south, and they're gone. What we saw on this play was Greg fielded the football and allowed his blocking to develop just a little bit, just long enough for that crease to open there on the sideline. And it was blocked up really well. And once he got outside, there was nobody that's going to catch him. So,
you know, the extra point ended up being no good. And Coach, that ran the clock out. 53-6 is your halftime score. Coach, just looking back at the halftime now, look at the different people we've used. I mean, you've had Dan Newsom, you've had Nick Vorns on the defensive side of the ball, MJ, Brandon Johnson, you've had Greg Hooks Jr., you've had Stephon Coleman. So, right. And you've had Trey Moore. So look at all the variety that we've used. If I was a defensive coordinator, Bobby, there is no way I could prepare for the different weapons that were used to beat me here. I mean, I'd play general, but how do you prepare for something like that?
You don't. You don't. I mean, you know, and we talked about this on the live stream, and I've seen it all year. And I think it's just typical of high school football in Arkansas right now. Everybody wants to play a little bit of zone coverage, and everybody wants to play loose on the line of scrimmage. And I've been calling for it all year. When you look out there and you see that guy 10 yards off the ball, we got playmakers on the edge.
I guarantee
there's playmakers out there, and those quick wide, and we saw those Friday night. Those quick wide receiver screens. What I like about what Coach Hooks does offensively is he uses that tempo. You get a good solid run. We get a 6, 7, 8 yard gain, and we're on the football. And I know that's what the quarterback's looking at. He's looking at that coverage on the outside. Are they in zero? Are they in a cover two? What are they running? Are they in a zone? But if those guys are 8 to 10 yards off the football, that ball's going to come out quick because that 2 yard gain's there. You're going to get that first down based on that wide receiver screen or just that quick out. And I thought that was big on Friday night. Those plays kept us just consistently moving the football. You know, you try to find something out of this ball game. You say, okay, everything was roses for Osceola. You try to find something to talk about. Well, the one thing that we can talk about is the extra point.
No doubt about it.
And you know, we talked about this on the live stream. That's got to get cleaned up because that's going to come back to us at some point this season. Those extra points are going to mean something.
You're going to need one. And
we saw Manila have some success in the quick passing game. Now they switched quarterbacks. They bring in the sophomore Tanner Miller, who's a good friend of mine's son that played well.
Yes.
Threw a good ball. Dustin Clark made some good catches, and they get on the board. So you want to be able to clean those things up. The thing that we didn't see Friday night that was really, really, in my mind, one of the biggest accomplishments of the evening was penalties.
That's right.
And we didn't in a ball game like this. You got kids out there; they're having fun. They're out there; they're way ahead. They're you're blowing your opponent out. It's very easy for a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid to lose that focus and do something stupid.
That's right.
We didn't see that Friday night, and we saw those kids hold their composure and play well. I thought for the most part, I couldn't find somebody that wasn't even when the score was out of hand, wasn't out there giving 100%. Right. And that's something that's hard to do when you're up that much.
I know the coach, he teaches we're going to play to the end or else, so I know how that works. Coach, just real quick about the first half, just talk a little bit about getting everybody involved and seeing all these different people touching the football and having success in what you do.
Well, that's what we go into when we go into our coaches meeting on Sunday. We want to find out how can we get each individual the ball. What do we need to do to get this person the ball? How can we get this running back involved? Who does this? Who catches the best out of the backfield? So on. I thought we come up with a pretty good plan to get everybody involved. And you get a big lead and you're able to play the young guys. That's always good to see young guys play against their best. And I thought we did okay. We had we give up a touchdown pass that just a minor mistake, and just the things that you have to work on. That's why you play those guys to get that experience. So now they know.
I agree 100%. Looking at your first half stats, Coach, for Osceola, 13 rushes, a little over 100 yards. You were 5 for 6 through the air for 86 yards, 186 yards total offense in the first half. They had 27 rushes for 46 yards. They were 4 for 9 through the air for 51 yards. They had 97 total yards in the first half. Just a little bit about your individual stats. MJ Vance had 4 rushes, 19 yards. Brandon Johnson, 5 rushes for 46 yards through the air. Greg Hooks Jr. had 3 receptions for 47 yards, and Trey Moore had 2 receptions for 39 yards. Just looking at, some of your individual. I mean, you had a bunch of individual stats we could have told. We just talked about a little bit of them there. Folks, 53-6 at the half, and mercy clock is the sportsmanship rule is in effect in the second half. What that means is, for some of you that don't know, when you're up by 35 points at the half, the clock in the second half will not stop. Very few times it'll stop for just very small reasons. But so the clock ran the third quarter, clock ran the fourth quarter. There was no scoring in either quarter. The final score from Osceola on homecoming, Osceola 53, Manila 6. And just looking at your totals for the game, Coach, and these are unofficial. This is just some that we had at the very end. There may be a few yards here and there that we missed. Osceola had 31 rushes for 148 yards, 7 of 8 of passing for 123 yards for 271 yards of total offense. Manila was 29 rushes for 48 yards. They were 5 for 10 through the air for 59 yards, 107 yards of total offense. So, Coach, I mean, you didn't have a whole lot. You got to see a lot of young players in the second half. I mean, most every one of your starters were off the field. You got to see the other sophomore that we talk about a whole lot at quarterback, Anthony Harris Jr. Call him AJ, so you might refer to him as AJ. So you got to see him get some good reps. Look good at quarterback. He kind of listed as your third string, but just good to see him get in there and get some good action because you never know when you're gonna have to use him. So, Coach, just a recap of the ball game. You went homecoming 53-6. Just give us a recap of the game, if you will, and then we'll move on and talk about next week's game.
Little recap on the game. I'm just very proud of the way that we come out and played football in the first and second quarter, and proud of the way that the backups come in and finish out the game. So very proud of my team.
Osceola 53, Manila 6. Big win on homecoming. What we'll do now is take a break and let our sponsors get a word in here. Without them, this does not happen, and we appreciate every one of the sponsors you're listening to here. We'll come back. We'll talk about the Harrisburg Hornets, and then we'll talk about our pick'ems. We'll be right back.
First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is the official bank of the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. Our premier sponsor, First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, is Eastern Arkansas's largest independently owned bank. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas specializes in all your banking needs, including personal banking, online banking, business banking, savings accounts, loans, CDs, and IRAs. Go down to the First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, speak with President Greg Reese and teller supervisor and loan processor Taylor Lucius for all your banking needs. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas is a proud sponsor of the Osceola Seminole Nation and the Robert Hooks Show. First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, member FDIC. Bugmobile of Arkansas, located at 408 South Walnut in Osceola, specializes in pest control and termite control for both residential and commercial properties. Owners Oscar and Jade Gonzalez would be happy to come out and give you a free estimate, and you can also contact Bugmobile at 870-563-6811. Bugmobile is a proud sponsor of your Osceola Seminoles and the Seminole Nation. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a tax preparation and financial service located at 2981 West Kaiser in Osceola. They can be reached at 870-563-5710. H&R Block of Mississippi County is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation. Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals, located at 202 West Johnson in Osceola, can meet all of your residential and storage rental needs. Harshman's has apartments and housing located throughout Osceola and Mississippi County, both furnished and unfurnished, available for rent. You can contact Harshman Rentals at 870-563-3694. Ed Harshman and Harshman Rentals are a proud sponsor of Osceola Seminole Athletics and the Seminole Nation. Roller Swift Funeral Home of Osceola is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation and Osceola Seminole Athletics. Located at 2173 US 61 South, Roller Swift Funeral Home specializes in funeral services and helping families with the costs associated with them. For more information, contact them at 870-563-6578 and speak with David Tucker. Roller Swift Funeral Home, with all our respect.
Councilmember Tyler Dunnigan is a proud sponsor of the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hook Show. Tyler is working for a better Osceola with real commitment and real results. Councilmember Tyler Dunnigan for a better Osceola. Farm Bureau Insurance of Osceola and Agent Grant Barnett proudly sponsor the Seminole Nation and the Robert Hook Show. Contact Grant for all of your auto, home, and life insurance needs. You can see Grant at 3125 West Kaiser in Osceola and contact him at 870-563-6561. Farm Bureau Insurance and Agent Grant Barnett are proud sponsors of the Seminole Nation.
And welcome back to the Robert Hook Show. Coach, we get a team this week. The Harrisburg Hornets, 5-1 on the season. Started the season 5-0, undefeated. Lost last week to Newport, but they're going to be hungry coming into Seminole Stadium this Friday night, and they would want nothing more than to knock off the Osceola Seminoles. Talk a little bit about the Harrisburg Hornets.
Well, first off, they're a well-coached ball club. Coach Thornton has done a great job. This is his third year, and you can see the kids, starting to take on his personality and demeanor, and they up front. They're big, play hard, and they're going to block until the whistle blows. His skilled guys play hard, run low to the ground, and they run the football very hard. He's going to start a sophomore quarterback this year, this week. Samuel Moore, sophomore, 5'9", 130. Did a phenomenal job, and especially playing a good team like Newport. I thought he managed the game well and did a good job. And he has some wheels. He's a fast guy. So we're going to have to account for know where he is, at all time. Make sure that we check the quarterback. He has a big fullback, running back type body. James Pender, sophomore, 6 foot 195, can do it all. Really good kid, good football player. And 28, Ross Heeb. 5'7", 165 is their go-to guy. He's you see him at running back, you see him at quarterback, you see him at slot receiver, you see him at outside receiver. He kind of does it all for him. And they also the other running back they have is Jacob Wallace, 5'7", 160, another sophomore. So they're a really young ball club, but they're playing like upperclassmen. And those guys, I'm telling you, they're really good. He has offensive linemen that are pretty good. The center, 51, Corey Green, is another big body. He's 6'1". He looks to be about 280, 290, somewhere in between there. And hey, they're gonna get after you. I thought that Coach had a very good game plan going into the Newport game. Which shows that they're versatile. They can get into the spread and they can get into the power sets and cause you some problems. He's going to do a lot of motioning and things to kind of give you a little eye candy to make sure that you're disciplined on defense and that you're taking care of business. But they're a good ball club, and I can promise you we're not going to overlook them, and we're going to have to play football.
Bobby, just Coach mentioned this just a second ago. Looking at some of that film on the Newport game, they come out and look at the double wing T offense. Very, very close to the line of scrimmage. A little trickeration. Never know who's got the ball. You got to be very disciplined in that offense. They run it for a certain amount of plays. They come out of it going to the spread or a little power set off to the right to where they put their two up backs right behind the tackle, and then the running back right behind them up backs and try to run it down your throat. And if that don't work, they'll spread you out, try to throw the football all over the place. So they've got numerous formations that Osceola is going to have to deal with this week, and they're going to have to be disciplined on all sides of the ball. So just talk a little bit about what you think the keys are to stopping this Hornets team.
Well, there are multiple offense. They come out and they use multiple formations. I think most of what they're trying to do and what they've designed is their running backs and their quarterback are a little bit shorter. They're not tall kids. They're quick, what we used to call little water bug type backs that quick feet and get out. And so what they're trying to do is disguise where the football is and trying to catch you in a look or get you out of a position or get out of a lane, not playing good gap control and spring one on you. They've got some guys who've got some speed that can get out and take the ball to the house. So I think it's all about responsibility on defense this week. It's all about knowing what your responsibilities are and maintaining good, solid gap control. We see a lot of misdirection out of what they do too, and we've talked about our linebackers getting caught up in the wash and not scooting down the line of scrimmage and staying parallel and staying at their depth. I think that'll be critical this week. They'll have to stay at depth and make sure they know where the football is. They've got a rather large offensive line. I mean, they had some good-sized kids up there. So they can do some things, kind of like what Gosnell used to try to do, and just keep you guessing where the football actually is.
Well, another team that you saw that also, Bobby, Rising last year, lined them three backs up in that backfield, or quarterback with the two backs in that backfield, and they just kind of run power one way or power the other way. You saw a little bit of that. Another thing that I saw a lot in that Newport game was Harrisburg will block. It will go to the whistle.
They will.
I mean, they are a scrappy bunch. They want to. They're not going to stop till that whistle blows, and it might be right at the whistle, and they're still trying to block. So another thing that Osceola, in my opinion, is going to have to do, they're going to have to keep their heads on the shoulders because this is kind of team that wants you to get a little upset, make some mistakes, get some personal fouls, and then try to get you out of your game. And
it's all
you
about
just got to stay composed. That's exactly
it's all about discipline and discipline in the way you conduct yourself on the field. Discipline about how you complete your assignments. And I'll say that I don't know that they can block our ends. That's where a lot we can cause a lot of problems with the speed on the end of the defensive line. We saw some really good things out of Rod last week. We see good things out of AJ when he's on playing a defensive linebacker. DeCarlos Woods, the quickness that he displays off that line is something that is really handy. But again, it's going to be assignment football. It's going to be doing what you're supposed to do and being where you're supposed to be. I don't think Harrisburg really has the speed to challenge us on the outside. We saw Manila try to do that and just could not get the ball out and turn the corner. Harrisburg is going to have watched film, and we've seen it. We've seen it from the very beginning with Nettleton. Everybody knows that we struggle at times with the interior run, especially on the counteraction runs or the runs out of shotgun. They're a little bit delayed. Our kids love to pursue. They love to get up the field. And so what we've seen is a little bit of delayed action run that gives us some problems. But still yet, I think that as long as we're playing gap sound and playing good, solid assignment football, linebackers stay at depth, we don't get caught in the wash, we'll be fine.
That's right. And just like Coach just told us, they're well coached. Their game plan last week at Newport was to control the football. They'll run that clock. They'll run every second they can off that 40-second clock. I saw them come to the line of scrimmage numerous times with 20 seconds left on that play clock and stand there and watch that play clock until it got down to about 2 or 3 and then snap the football. So you could tell what they wanted to do was minimize possessions. They wanted to make sure that Newport could not get out there and score fast because this team likes to play being ahead. When they have to play from behind, it's a different ball game because that gets it out of their element. They want to slow the ball down. You can't slow the ball down if you're behind. You got to catch back up. So, in my opinion, Coach, it's just from an analyst's point of view, if you jump out on this team, it's going to make them do things they don't want to do. That's when they get uncomfortable, and that's when you see Osceola shine. I love it. I love the 2-for-1s. It's just my personal opinion. I know there's certain games that you like to go on the coin toss different ways. One week you may want to take the ball. One week you may want to defer to the second half. Me personally, I love it when I see Osceola win the toss and defer to the second half. See, the reason why I say that is because I know we have that opportunity right there for the half to score the football, and then we get the ball in the second half and have the possibility of the same thing. That's called a 2-for-1, and I love it. I know we've talked about this already. I probably said it 100 times. The reason why I love it because I love what you did in the Rising game. You did that exact same thing in that Rising game. In my opinion, that's what won you the ball game. Is you got them 2 scores right there in the middle of before the half and after the half. But Coach, a little bit more about Harrisburg before we get out of here and talk about Pick'ems. They are a good bunch of kids. They're 5-1. I promise you. Hey, looking at that, it was their homecoming last week against Newport. Look at some of that film. You couldn't get nobody else in that stadium. They got brand new turf over there. It looked really good. And I'll tell you, from the people standing around the field and the stands, and there wasn't enough room. I saw where Newport's TV was in the bleachers on the visitor side. So that just tells you how many people there were there. But they would want nothing more to come over here and knock the Seminoles off this week. Anything else on the Harrisburg Hornets?
Nothing else. They, I think the brand. I think that Coach Thornton is selling the brand over there, and they're definitely playing with a lot of swagger. And I'm happy and excited about for him and his team, and we're excited for the challenge this week.
That's right. That's right.
I'll say this too. When we talked about where we're at season wise and conference wise, this Seminole football team's in a rhythm.
Yes, sir.
And if we can maintain that rhythm, we're going to be a difficult out for anybody. So
You're right.
I think Harrisburg's got their hands full this week. If the offense continues to click the way it is, we've got playmakers all over the field. It's going to be a good ball.
That's exactly right. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what ranking you are or if you're not ranked. When you're going up against a football team that has weapons, and I'm talking about weapons all over the place, it is tough to stop somebody like that. You're not trying to stop one person or two. You think you got them beat, he'll show you with somebody else. So Osceola, excuse me, they're going to come to play this Friday night. I promise you that. So, Bobby, let's talk about the Pick'ems from last week. Excuse me, guys.
There's any need to talk about?
Yeah, let's talk about the Pick'ems from last week, and then we'll talk about this week's games, and we'll pick them. As you know, folks, Osceola beats Manila 53-6, homecoming. We had Newport at Harrisburg last week, 38-23. The Newport Greyhounds beat the Harrisburg Hornets, gives them their first loss of the season. Newport's still undefeated in conference. They have one loss out of non-conference. It was also Corning at Hoxie last week. And Bob, we both picked Hoxie, as we did Newport. We both picked Hoxie, and Hoxie took care of business 54-6. The game we were undecided on, and boy, it took well after our ball game to even get this score. I don't know if they just didn't want to tell it or what was going on. We couldn't find the score till about 11:30, 12 o'clock Friday night. Walnut Ridge traveled to Pickett. And, folks, just to refresh your memory, I picked Walnut Ridge to go to Pickett and win. Bobby picked the Pickett Mohawks. Final score, Walnut Ridge 43, Pickett 28. So, Bobby, that's 3 games that you're behind now.
Yeah.
I just want to let the people of Seminole Nation know that I am up 3 games on Bobby. And,
That's just because Corning's been lucky twice.
Don't sleep on Corning. I'm trying to tell you. And later on the season, I'm gonna show you again how that's gonna work.
Okay.
But let's talk about this week's game, Bobby. We don't usually pick the game we're gonna call, so we done talked about Harrisburg and Osceola and what we thought the keys of the game were on that. Pickett is at Hoxie, Bobby. Pickett Mohawks travel to the Hoxie Mustangs.
I really want to pick. I got to try to get back in this thing, but I'm not going to be able to jump away from Hoxie on this one, not at home.
I agree with you. I mean,
Hoxie.
it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for Pickett to come to Hoxie and win with the quarterback and running backs
Kyle
they got there at Hoxie.
Yeah.
Coach Sears is an excellent coach. He's going to have Hoxie ready. I'm picking Hoxie to beat Pickett at home. The next game is Walnut Ridge is at Corning. Walnut Ridge is at Corning, Bobby.
I really hope you pick Corning. I hope you stay with them. I do, because I'm picking Walnut Ridge. I'm getting one back right here.
Oh, no.
Cole Manning goes in and shows out, and Walnut Ridge comes out there with a victory.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Corning has helped me tremendously.
But you're going to pick against them.
Tremendously, Bobby. They've helped me tremendously.
But you're going to chicken out.
But I'm going to tell you,
You're going to chicken out.
after I watched Cole Manning
I knew it.
do what he's done the first few games, they're a different ball team when he plays, and I can't go against him.
After Corning has put you up in this thing,
Hey,
winning 2 ball games they shouldn't have won. You're gonna bail on
and
them.
I'm gonna help them again. I'm gonna help them again later on down the line.
Fair weather fan.
No. I showed you I'm not a fair weather fan because I picked them.
Fair weather fan.
But this week I just got to go with my gut. Walnut Ridge is going to go to Corning and get that win. So I'm gonna go with you on that one. Walnut Ridge is gonna beat Corning. So the next one, Bobby, the next one is Newport is at Manila. You want to go on a limb on this one?
No.
I
like the Lions.
I don't
like
blame
them.
I like them too,
but I don't like them that much.
but Newport's a different animal.
Newport is a different animal.
They are full of speed, full of athletes, and they're a good football team.
Still can't believe you picked against Corning.
I'm going with Newport on this game. So we're gonna all be the same after this week, unless we lose, but it won't matter nothing. So, folks, that's the pick 'em for this week. Hey, let me just real quick during our broadcast, Coach. We asked a lot of people that were watching the live feed to let us know where they're from. You know, because a lot of alumni, since it's homecoming, a lot of alumni watch the live feed that they can't come home or they live out of state and places. So, Coach, I just want to tell you a few that we got. We had a gentleman that he was I can't remember what class he was in. I should have wrote it down, but he was watching from Miami, Florida, and had an older gentleman that was a class of like 78. I could be wrong, but he was in Las Vegas, Nevada, and so that just goes to show you. And that's just some of the ones we got. We had a bunch of them, Mississippi and different places, Texas. Coach, that just goes to show you. We've got a lot of alumni that just cannot get back here, but they love the Osceola Seminoles. They've heard about how great they're doing, and they are just so blessed that we're able to bring them this program every Friday night. I know when we first started this, we got a little slack from it about hurting attendance and things like that. That's not the point of this. We knew that we had a bunch of people that would try to get it on the radio, and used to, Coach. You had to go to 107.3 on that dial, and if you get so far outside Osceola, it's going to snow up on you and you can't hear it. And there wasn't no such thing as getting on that cell phone and going, who's winning the Osceola game? You couldn't do that. And then finally we get to digital age where now you can listen to it on your phone. If you're on the radio, if you can listen to it on your phone or anywhere in the United States. But when we were able to go live and bring this football live, it changed the world when it comes to Seminole fans and alumni. And I just want you to know that it's unbelievable how many people we're reaching that are Seminole alumni and Seminole fans that we would not have reached if it wasn't for this program. And I just want you to know you're loved. Your football team is loved, them boys. There's a lot of people that are behind them. And I'm just glad, and Bobby, me and him talk about, we're just glad to be a small part of it. Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing. It really is.
Thank you.
So, Bobby, anything else you want to talk about before we get off the air here?
You touched on it right there. The support Friday night was huge. We looked down, the stands were full. A lot of alumni there. You had folks out that were tailgating and all, and that's big in a high school football game. It was loud.
Yes.
And there was a lot of reasons to be loud Friday night, but it was loud. We did the live show Thursday afternoon at the homecoming parade and had a good crowd there. So
Yes.
the community support for the football team is evident, and Coach Hooks is going to continue to plow forward, and I think that support comes from having a disciplined program that goes out and does things the right way, and you put a good product on the field and you win with that. People are going to come and they're going to watch that type of football.
No doubt about it, Bobby. So, folks, I don't have to tell you, Bernard Lofton, you see it every week. We talk to you on this live feed. Rally the troops. We need people in the stands this Friday night, folks. This is a huge game for Osceola Seminole football. Do not think that Harrisburg is going to come in here and lay down. I promise you, it's not going to happen. This is going to be a good football game Friday night. The deciding factor could be you, the fans. Please get there early, get in them stands. So we got a weather report. What's it looking like for Friday, Coach?
It's going to be clear. I think 72 or 3 during the day and 51
There it is.
at night. So.
Folks, you can't beat it. If you're a little cold nature, bring you a little blanket. That way when you're sitting down between timeouts and at halftime. But we need you loud. We need you proud. We need you cheering for the Seminoles. We need this one Friday night. Hey, this is our home. Nobody's going to come in here and push Osceola around, and us fans are going to make sure of that. So come this Friday night. We need the atmosphere, rally the troops. For Bobby Eflin, for head football coach Robert Hooks, Jay behind the scenes over there doing all of our work behind the scenes. We appreciate him so much. You have been watching the Robert Hooks Show. We will see you this Friday night.